And coming for our forum, this is Winning Justice for Oscar Grant. It's hosted by the Coalition to Defend Affirmative Action, Integration, and Immigrant Rights, and Fight for Equality by Any Means Necessary. Our keynote speaker is BAMN's National Chair, Shanta, who also led our successful campaign in Detroit, Michigan, several years back, I think it was 1992, to win justice for Malice Green, who was a black motorist beaten by several Detroit police officers. And our campaign in the Justice for Malice Green fight led to the only that I know of, only case where white police officers were convicted of second-degree murder of a black victim. And we hope to give you some more of a sense of our approach, not just for what we did with Malice Green, but most specifically to win justice for Oscar Grant, because our number one goal and our number one aim for this movement is to make sure that these police officers are convicted, are jailed, that they cannot do this again. And Ms. Driver will talk more about that. We're honored here to have the presence of some of Oscar Grant's friends and family. Thank you so much. And I'll let them decide if they want to speak later, but there's no pressure at all. We're also honored to have the presence of Stephanie Montoya, who is the sister of Jerry Amaro, who was also killed and beaten by the Oakland police in a cover-up again about 9 years ago, and that case has been reopened. And we're very happy to have all the students here from Berkeley and also from Oakland, community members, and also clergy and faith leaders as well. So thank you very much. I'll turn it over to Shanta.
Thank you. I'm, as Yvette said, my name is Shanta Driver, and I'm the National Chair of BAMN. And I just want to begin by saying that it is our aim, and we will do everything that we can in our power to win justice for Oscar Grant. What's clear to me, as somebody who's come into the situation from Detroit, and I don't claim to be any kind of an expert on the Bay Area, on Oakland, on Hayward, on Fremont, on any of the, any of the places. But just having been here a very short time, dealing with investigating what happened in this case, I can say that in 4 or 5 days of talking to people, I've not only heard about what happened in the death of Oscar Grant and the events surrounding that, I've heard of one police atrocity after another. People being viciously beaten by the police, people being killed by the police, people who have suffered, families who have suffered just terrible, terrible losses, and people who have both, who have either and or both been the victims of police brutality themselves, or friends and family of people who have been victims of police brutality and have shared in the suffering of the victim and have been changed by that experience themselves. One of my favorite writers is Frederick Douglass. And in his narrative, his first autobiography, he talks about an instant in the very beginning of the book in which he sees his aunt assaulted and beaten by a slave owner. And he's a child, and he's hiding in the closet, and he's hearing all the screaming. And he says and makes clear that he was as traumatized as she was, not because he was beaten too, but because to be a part of that kind of experience when it's happened to somebody that you are close to means that you can suffer that same trauma yourself. And I want to say that in beginning this because some of the videotape that we're going to be looking at is very, very explicit. It is hard to look at. It is chilling, in fact. And what is the most chilling about it is not what happens before Oscar Grant is murdered. That is plenty chilling. But what is really, really chilling is from the moment you see Meserly, who's the policeman who shoots Oscar Grant, start to struggle to get his gun out, stand up, shoot him, have an exchange with Perone or Peroni, however it's said, the other policeman, and then it's as though a situation in which the cops were acting in a relatively chaotic manner becomes a situation in which there's calm and determination imposed. And what is so chilling about that is that their reaction to killing this man is to feel at ease, to start to be able to organize the cover-up immediately, not to even waste a second from their standpoint, seeing whether he's dead or alive, what his state of being is. It's all about the cover-up from the moment of that shooting. I want to start by talking about what BAM is trying to do, and then look at some of the evidence in the case and talk about that, and then show some of the video and let people give their impressions of it, but also see it from the standpoint that we think it's most important to look at it and understand it from. First, on what we're doing in this case. It's clear to us that there is no way that we're going to get justice in this case, or even a real prosecution of the police involved in this case, without developing a mass movement demanding justice for Oscar Grant. To get justice for Oscar Grant, we've got to make the name Oscar Grant be a household word, be a name known to every family in every crook and nanny of the state of California, every city and every rural area, every black community, every Latino community, every Asian community, every white community. We've got to make sure that when that trial starts on Meserly, and I'll say in a minute about the other cops, but on Meserly, that the eyes of all of California are focused on what is happening in that courtroom and are judging for themselves what the verdict should be. Anything less than that, I think, will almost certainly result in the cop in Meserly being set free. In case after case after case of police shootings, of in particular black and Latino men in this society, there are cops that are found not guilty by juries. And they're found not guilty for three reasons. First, the prosecution is not even attempting to make a case in which a guilty verdict could be secured. And when we look at the prosecution's brief in this case that was put forward to the court to try to influence what kind of bail would be set for Meserly, you'll see what I mean in terms of a completely inadequate argument for anything that could possibly result in a conviction. You can look at the actions of the prosecutor and without having read a word of any of the briefs, know that they are not looking to seriously get these police jailed. Yeah. Anybody that would let somebody who they have on a videotape shooting another person, clearly the person unarmed, not fighting, not struggling, completely undeserving of any type of violent action, being shot. Anyone who would let that happen on January 1st and not arrest anyone till January 13th is obviously somebody who is not intent on aggressively pursuing a prosecution. When you look at those tapes, you're going to see after the shooting, there are a bunch of police around.